Instead, Heineke wisely, and now a flag. Wow. And that's going to, in essence, end the game. And instead, it's going to be picked up for a touchdown, and the Commanders have won this game.
So the Philadelphia Eagles' undefeated season is officially over after taking their first loss of the season to the Washington Commanders on Monday Night Football by a score of 32-21. And this was actually a really surprising loss, as the Philadelphia Eagles are clearly a better team than the Washington Commanders, and heading into the game they were overwhelming favorites. And there was much ongoing debate heading into this game when their first loss of the season would be, but no one really expected it to be this game, so this was obviously a very shocking loss. But one of the ongoing narratives heading into this game is that the Philadelphia Eagles were overrated. Many people were saying that, the Eagles are frauds because their schedule had been so easy up to that point, and that was kind of what people were rolling with when talking about the Philadelphia Eagles and them still remaining undefeated. People were saying that they were potentially an overrated team, and after this loss, that narrative is only going to continue to be pushed out more. I see more and more people saying the Philadelphia Eagles are frauds. They should never have been undefeated to begin with, and if they had a harder schedule, they would have surely lost a bunch more games. They wouldn't even be close to the top of the NFC standings, let alone leading them. So then the question's got to be asked, did the Commanders expose the Philadelphia Eagles on Monday Night Football? Well, to find out more about that, we're going to have to dive deeper into what caused the Philadelphia Eagles to actually lose this game. So let's start out by what the Washington Commanders really did to limit the Eagles' offense and defense in this game, and I got to give them credit because their game plan coming in was actually very smart. What they did was they basically came in and they said, we're going to control the time of possession, we're going to keep your offense off the field, and we're going to convert manageable third downs. And they were very successful in doing this. They won the time of possession battle 40 minutes and 24 seconds to 19 minutes and 36 seconds, and they were able to keep the offense off the field for the majority of this game. Obviously, the Washington offense was out there for double the time the Eagles offense was, and they didn't allow the Philadelphia Eagles offense to get into a rhythm, and the way they did this was by running the football. Brian Robinson specifically had 26 carries for 86 yards and a touchdown. Antonio Gibson was also very effective. He had 14 carries for 44 yards and a touchdown as well, and in total, the Washington Commanders offense had 49 carries for 152 yards and 2 touchdowns. 49 rushing attempts is an insane stat, but this was the best way to attack the Philadelphia Eagles defense, and that's why I got to give credit to the Commanders coaching staff and their game plan, because it was really smart. Because the Philadelphia Eagles defense, the weakest part of that is their run defense. It's number 20 in the league right now, and obviously without Jordan Davis, who's still injured, they have been struggling to stop the run. Over these past couple weeks, we saw it versus the Texans, and now we see it again versus the Washington Commanders, and they were the ones they were able to take advantage of it. Now the Philadelphia Eagles went out and made a move to acquire a defensive tackle that should hopefully try to negate some of those issues that come from losing Jordan Davis and hopefully help the running game in Linval Joseph. So that was, I think, a very good move by Howie Roseman, very smart move. And as I'm editing this video, the Philadelphia Eagles went out and signed Ndamukong Suh to a 1-year deal in order to also help stop the run. And I honestly think this is an even better move than that Linval Joseph signing, which I also think was very good. Continuing, the Commanders obviously had a great game plan, like I said before, and I think they executed it perfectly. So I got to give them credit. They did exactly what they needed to do, and they honestly played the Eagles the smartest of any team so far this season. But despite all this, the Philadelphia Eagles were still in this game. They had chances to win, and I feel like they had a lot of missed opportunities, and the game was there for them to win, even with the Washington Commanders keeping the Eagles offense off the field for most of the game. They had a chance in this one, but the Eagles kind of blew it for themselves. Now we're going to get into that, so let's continue on here. First thing I got to say, the Eagles defense took too long to adjust. I feel like they were playing it a little bit too conservatively. Once you saw the Commanders' game plan, it was a pretty consistent thing what the Washington offense was doing, and the Philadelphia Eagles defense didn't really adjust to what was happening on the field. They ended up adjusting in the fourth quarter. The defense was much better in that fourth quarter. Obviously, they were able to force an interception. I believe it was on third down, and TJ Gardner-Johnson, the leading interception guy in the NFL, gets his 6th interception of the season. Very impressive stuff from TJ Gardner-Johnson, but the Eagles defense, again, took too long to adjust. And this honestly right here is the biggest point that I want to make when regarding the Eagles in this game. Heading into the game, the Eagles were number 1 in the league in turnover differential at plus 15, and they only had 3 turnovers all season. So obviously the Philadelphia Eagles are a team that prides themselves on taking care of the ball. Nick Sirianni preaches in that locker room. Ball security, hold on to the ball, the football is valuable. But in this game, the Eagles coughed up the football 4 times. They had 4 turnovers in this game. They're still number 1 at plus 13, but 4 turnovers in one single game is very hard to overcome. They had 3 fumbles, 1 interception. Obviously, one of those fumbles was at the end of the game during kind of a lateral play, so that's kind of what led to the 4th turnover, but still 3 turnovers is really hard to overcome in one single game. And a couple of the turnovers really happened at crucial times. I mean, all of them really in the game. The first interception, the Philadelphia Eagles had a chance to go down the field and go up by 2 scores, and instead they throw an interception, and that was just kind of a missed opportunity, weird play. Jalen Hurts took a shot to A.J. Brown in double coverage, and it hit him in the hands, but it was a great interception by the Washington defense. But then in the second half, the Philadelphia Eagles had chances. For example, the Dallas Goedert fumble. That obviously, missed face mask penalty, whatever. It was a really unfortunate play. Dallas Goedert also got injured on that play. They just put him on IR, so hopefully he gets better as quickly as possible so he's ready to go for the stretch run of the season and the playoffs. But he fumbled on that play, and that was at a crucial point in the game. And then the Quez Watkins fumble was the real backbreaker, where the Philadelphia Eagles were driving down the field to win the game, to score a touchdown and go ahead on the Washington Commanders. They were down 26-21 at this point. They throw a deep shot to Quez Watkins. He catches the ball, he falls down, he tries to get back up, and the defender comes from behind and strips him. And it's just a really unfortunate play, but this turnover came at a really crucial time. But it just kind of sucked, and it was a really unfortunate play. So I honestly think those turnovers were the biggest deciding factor in the game. But something else that I got to talk about is the Eagles, especially mainly in the first half, got away from one of their strengths, which is the run game. They have the number 6 running offense in the entire NFL, but they only had 4 rushes in the first half. That really fed into the Washington Commanders' game plan, because there was a couple possessions in that first half. After scoring the first 2 possessions, they scored a touchdown on both those first 2 possessions, but the Eagles' offense wasn't really able to get into a rhythm after that for the rest of the first half. And I think a way that you could counteract that was by running the football, getting positive yards, and then converting manageable third downs, kind of like what the Commanders did on offense. But the Philadelphia Eagles really played into it. They had Jalen Hurts drop back, especially after A.J. Brown kind of looked like he got hurt a little bit to start the game. And the Philadelphia Eagles just didn't really commit to running the football, which is what I think the smart thing would have been to do, is, try to get some positive yards, try to get some first downs, and then put a nice drive together. And, that sucks, but it's not something I expect to see moving forward. And that, it kind of brings me to the main point, which is the Eagles did a lot of uncharacteristic things that they haven't really done all season, turning the ball over, getting away from the run game, and that cost them the game. And if I look back in time, this Philadelphia Eagles game reminds me of a game back in 2017, the Eagles Super Bowl season, where the Eagles were on a 9-game win streak heading in to play the Seattle Seahawks, who were not nearly as good as they were heading into that game. But the Philadelphia Eagles kind of shot themselves in the foot in that game too. You had a Carson Wentz turnover where he fumbled on the 1-yard line. The ball went out the back of the end zone. You had multiple missed opportunities in that game. I don't remember all the specifics of it, but I do remember that game being like a kind of a wake-up call for the Philadelphia Eagles, like I think this one will be this season. And there's also kind of the same lazy narrative that's going around this season. Back in 2017, it was like the Philadelphia Eagles hadn't really beaten that many great opponents heading into those games, and there was questions as to whether the Philadelphia Eagles could beat actual quality opponents, and the Seahawks being one of those potential quality opponents who they ended up not making the playoffs that season, but still they were a decent team. But people wanted to see the Philadelphia Eagles be able to beat these quality opponents, and they lost that game, and the same questions arose. If the Philadelphia Eagles were overrated, could they beat these quality teams going into the playoffs? If they can't beat these quality teams, they can't really make any noise in the playoffs, and that's kind of the narrative that I think is going around right now with the Philadelphia Eagles, is that maybe they'll be a first-round exit because they haven't really played anybody yet, which, by the way, Philadelphia Eagles beat the Minnesota Vikings, who are 8-1, and just beat the Buffalo Bills. I know it was week 2, but still, that's a very impressive win. And that was a big win for the Philadelphia Eagles, and they did it in convincing fashion. They also beat the Dallas Cowboys with Cooper Rush. So obviously, yes, the Philadelphia Eagles have had a pretty favorable schedule, but they do have a couple impressive wins, and you can only play who's on your schedule anyway. And the fact that they were able to be undefeated until week 9 was pretty impressive, and I didn't really expect that coming into this season as a Philadelphia Eagles fan. But with all that being said, I think coming into this game undefeated and then having a letdown like this, of course it's disappointing. Of course I probably came off a little ridiculous in my reaction video.
I cannot believe of all teams, we're gonna lose to the Washington Commanders, the commies.
It was in the moment. I was upset. I was mad as a fan, but probably like 30 minutes later, I was all good. I was like, we'll be okay, and I knew that even, I think, in the moment. I knew they would be okay, and they did some things that they can clean up, but I think they're ready to respond to this loss. I think, the Eagles have the right mentality coming out of this loss. They kind of know how they have to respond to this letdown of losing to the Washington Commanders, a division rival. They're going to eliminate the mistakes moving forward, and they're going to bounce back stronger than ever. I think everyone is in the right state of mind as they come out of their first loss of the season. And I really think the Eagles are going to be fine moving forward in this season. I still expect them to have a deep playoff run. I still expect them to probably either be the 1 or 2 seed in the NFC. I'm not really worried moving forward. And, you can say what you want, but that's what I think based on, everything that I've seen from this team so far this season, and that's what I'm sticking to. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for this video, guys. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. If you want to see more videos like this breaking down the Philadelphia Eagles, Philadelphia 76ers, other NBA and NFL content, subscribe to the channel right now. You don't want to miss any of the upcoming content we got going on here. Drop a like on this video to push it out to other people and to recover after the loss this week. You can go watch this Philadelphia Eagles hype video right here. And yeah, with that being said, it's pretty much all I got for this video. So thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.